kind of asked me to do it, obviously, on the resurrection. That's coming up soon. But I'm probably going to take this a little different approach than what most would assume, okay? Well, let's turn to a few scriptures first. I'll get different ones. So, Seth, you have John 20, verse 19. No, close. All right, go to John 20, 26, and then Jasmine, Acts 8, verse 37. Before we get there, I think you'll be able to see where I'm going with this. Acts 8, and then 37 to 40 is what I'm going to ask you to read when I get there. Okay, go ahead, John 19, or 2019.
Right. On the evening of that first day of the week, when the disciples were together with the doors locked for fear of the Jews, Jesus came and stood among them and said, "Peace be with you."
So you may know what just happened in that situation. They're sitting in a room, all the doors locked, and then all of a sudden Jesus shows up. Okay? You understand why he said, "Peace be unto you," first thing, because they're probably a little shocked. You go ahead and read. This is a little bit later.
Wait, you said John 26, right?
20:26.
Oh, okay.
20:26.
Thank you.
There you go.
And after 8 days, his disciples were again inside, and Thomas with them. Jesus came, the doors being shut, and stood in the midst, and said, "Peace to you."
Happens again. Same situation. Now, read what hers is from Acts 8, 37 to 40.
And Philip said, "If thou
Believest.
with all thine heart, thou mayest." And he answered and said, "I believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God." And he commanded the chariot to stand still, and they went down both into the water, both Philip and the chariot.
Eunuch.
Yep. And he baptized him. And when they were come up out of the water, the Spirit of the Lord caught away Philip, that the eunuch saw him no more, but he went on his way rejoicing. But Philip was found at Azotus, and passing through, he preached in all the cities till he came to
Caesarea.
Caesarea.
Does everybody see what happened in this situation? Philip, it's talking about Philip and the eunuch. You might not know the story, but Philip had converted this eunuch, and he baptized him. But when he came out of the water, the eunuch looked, and Philip was gone. And they found him in a different city. Okay? All 3 times, it almost seems like somebody is teleporting. Okay? Now, I'm a math teacher. I think some of you knew that. And in college, I had my senior project. But I didn't want to just teach math. So it was like God really showed me something I thought was amazing. I'm going to try to relay this to you. If I lose you, stay with me, okay? I'm getting to a point, all right? So let's start here. Here's what I observed the first time. There was this diagram like this. You guys know what parallel lines are, right? Lines that do not intersect. They go the same angle. And there was a semicircle drawn on this, like that. Looks like a smiley face, but it's a semicircle, okay? And what they were observing is if I take a point here, you guys know what a ray is? It goes in one direction like that, right? For every ray that I would shoot out of here, there's a point here that corresponds with one here. And it's always unique. That makes sense so far, okay? And it doesn't matter where I do this, I'm always going to have this situation. I don't care how far out it is. This point only corresponds with one on here. Okay? Now here's the predicament I saw. How long is this line right here? According to theoretically, it never stops. Right? This line is just from here to here. And yet I have the same number of points in both of these. It doesn't really make any sense, does it? Does everybody understand what I'm trying to say before I go on? No? Yes? No? This is an infinite number of points. You know what infinite is, right? And this is a finite line. That means it's only so long. Did I even tell you how long this is supposed to be? It could be this big. It would do the same thing. Follow me so far? Okay, now let's move. Let me move to the next observation here. I almost did a smart board. Did you see that? I picked it up and I started pretending like I was going to erase without the eraser. Okay. So I moved on to the next dimension. Does anybody know what 2 dimensions are? Give me a 2-dimensional object that you're familiar with. Huh? Square. That's the one I used. So I had this square. And I thought, okay, well, let's try this again. Here's a number line that's infinitely long. Okay? So here's from like 0, 1, this is -1, so on and so forth. All right? Now, I can show you the big long formula. I'm going to give you the gist of what it was. I took this and I said, okay, let's cut that out. Let's make this 1 unit long. And I'll put it about right here, a third of the way down. So I took this and put it there. Got that? Nod at me. I have to have nods. If you're lost, go, and I'll know you're lost. Okay? And then I took this one, and let's put it at 1/9 of the way. Right? And do it again. Put this one here. And as you keep going, I can keep putting these in here, right? And theoretically, I'd never run out of room because this has no width to it. It's just length. Right? Okay. So here's an infinite first dimension, and it fits in a finite second dimension. Does that make sense? Are you following me? You see where I'm going to go with this next. If a first fits in a second, what would be the logical conclusion to go with next? A second would fit into a third. Well, I figured out that it does work. It took me a while. I went through about 4 different formulas before I finally found one that my professor thought was good enough. Take a coordinate plane, right? That's an infinite 2-dimension, right? Keeps going on and on. Take, let me see if I can draw this. You see the cube? Okay? And what I did is I did the same pattern, except this time I took a 1x1 square, cut it out, and put it in here kind of like this. You see what I'm saying? And then I kept taking all these squares, and guess what? It fits in here. You're following my train of thought. So an infinite second dimension fits in a finite third. Right? I can show you, like I said, it's about this long of a proof to show that that's really true, but who cares? All right. What's the next observation to make? If an infinite second fits in a finite third, an infinite third dimension would fit in a finite fourth. Now this is where my thought is for my lesson today. I call this God and His reality. Because what I've noticed, a lot of times people think God's not really as big as what He is, or not as powerful as what He is. If this is really true, what would we call an infinitely large third dimension? The universe, okay? If there is a such thing as fourth dimension, of another dimension, how big could I fit it in? Any size, right? Doesn't matter. I can't draw 4 dimensions here. Obviously, I don't know what that would look like, but it doesn't have to be any size. It could be incredibly small. I've heard the song, He's Got the Whole World in His Hand. Because do you think God dwells in just 3 dimensions? He's above this, right? So everything is very simple there. I was going to say something else. I can't remember what it is now. I'll think of it later. Some observations I made this. Well, since I don't know what fourth is, right? We're going to go to 2 and make it like us. Here's flat guy. Okay? He's a flat person. So he only sees this way and up and down, and he can't see me because I'm out here in Threeville, right? Yes? Now, what happens if, got a piece of paper? Think of this. Okay, here's my flat guy. He's right here. Now, if I put my finger into Flatville, what's he see? A what?
Flat line.
It would look like a line, and he might be able to walk around it and kind of figure out, hey, this is like a circle or something, right? And would say, I put 3 fingers. He would see something like this. And walk around and say, hey, there's 3 of them. This guy, he transforms himself. But did I transform at all? No, I'm just who I am. I just put more of myself into there, right? If I put my whole hand on here, you might see like this big blob thing. And what is this? Okay? Also, if I took this guy in 2 dimensions and say, I understand 3. I understand up and out and everything else. He doesn't, though. I could take him out and put him here. Now, to me, what did I do? Anybody? I just moved him, right? That's not nothing outrageous to think of. But what about Joe Square here? What does he think just happened to John Stickman? He disappeared, came over here, and reappeared. Or we would call it teleported. Right? Jasmine?
Yes.
Okay. Does this seem to correlate with what we just read in the Bible? After Jesus rose again from the dead, and I'm going to go through the cross here in a second. We talked about this before too. Jesus in his earthly ministry, we know, was limited. He came down to our level and lived like us. Now you watch after his resurrection, you don't see that no more. Okay? Jesus wants to walk into the building, he does. He doesn't need